You know, we humans, we have this deep habit, this little voice inside that keeps asking, where did it all begin? Every story we love, every journey we start, every life we know, it all seems to have a first moment, a day one, a beginning. It gives us comfort. It makes the world feel ordered, like if we just find the start, maybe we can understand the rest. Maybe we can make sense of everything. And that's okay, it's natural. But sometimes maybe that habit pulls us into a kind of trap. What if the universe or the flow of life we're part of doesn't have a clear beginning at all? It may feel strange. It may even feel uncomfortable. But Buddhism whispers a different idea, not as a theory, not as a belief, but as a quiet observation. Existence has been flowing so long that we simply cannot find a first moment. There's no chapter one. There's no first cause sitting at the start of it all. And it's not because it's hidden. Maybe it's just not the way life works. So what do we do with that? Maybe instead of chasing some beginning we'll never find, we can look at what's happening right now, right here, all the little causes, all the conditions that are shaping this very moment, this very life. That's where the story really is. Maybe that's what matters more than any origin story. Think about a tree. It grows from a seed, sure, but that seed came from another tree, and that tree from another seed. Keep going back, and you'll never find a first tree. You'll just see this flow, this endless turning, this giving rise and becoming over and over. It's gentle, isn't it? A cycle without a beginning. And it's not only about the past. Even this seed in your hand, it won't grow on its own. It needs soil, water, sunlight, warmth, conditions, and all of us are the same. You are not the result of some single moment long ago. You are here now because past habits, past causes, and all the conditions of this present moment are meeting right here, right now. Maybe it's okay to think like this. To imagine that you're not a fixed thing, but a living process, rising, passing, changing with each breath. And maybe that's a little freeing, too, because if there's no ultimate starting point, then there's also no ultimate limitation set in stone. It's all happening moment by moment. And maybe that means you can start right now, wherever you are, with whatever you have. It's a lot to take in, I know. It might feel a bit unsettling. That's okay, too. We don't have to have all the answers. We can just notice, just be aware. And maybe, in this noticing, life feels a little lighter, a little more present. And hey, if you feel like you want to explore this with me a little more, maybe hit that subscribe button. I'll be sharing more gentle reflections like this, and we can walk through these thoughts together. It's okay to take it slow. There's no rush, just this moment. So, as we sit here, maybe just breathe for a second. Notice the little stream of thoughts, the little flow of life happening right now. No beginning, no end, just now. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's everything. So, if we keep going, the next thing to notice is this. Everything we experience, everything around us, doesn't just appear out of nowhere. Maybe it's easy to think things just exist by themselves. But look closer, and you see they're all connected. Life is a set of separate things. It's more like a web, or a stream, or a dance. Every tree, every thought, every feeling is happening because of something else. And those things are happening because of other things before them. And it keeps flowing and flowing. The Buddha called this dependent origination. Fancy words aside, it's really just noticing a pattern. You know that feeling when one thing leads to another, and you can see the chain, but it never really has a starting point. That's what life is like. Your anger, your joy, your longing, they're not just random. They come from conditions, from seeds planted long ago, from habits, from choices, from everything around you, all converging right now. Think about a seed again. You hold in your hand and you think, this might be a tree one day, but it won't grow alone. It needs sunlight. It needs water. It needs the air to hold it, the air to move through, the rain to fall. And even then, it still changes every day. Life is like that. You, me, everyone, we're all growing, changing, responding to conditions around us. And maybe that's the thing. We're not fixed. We're not done. We're always becoming. And that's okay. It's actually kind of beautiful if you let it be. And then there's the deeper layer. When the Buddha looked closely, he didn't just see that things arise because of conditions. He saw the way this process loops over and over, the way one thing feeds the next, and sometimes it circles back. Ignorance, craving, clinging, becoming, birth, aging, dying. It's all a cycle, spinning, without a true beginning, without a true end. Maybe you can feel in your own life the ways you keep repeating things, the habits that pull you in even when you don't want to. That's the cycle. That's the pattern. And the surprising thing is, noticing it is already the first step out. Because if you see it, if you really see how things are connected, how they arise and pass, then you can start to pause, even just a little. You can feel the moment before the next reaction, before the next craving. That pause, it's like a small window, a little freedom. And maybe, just maybe, that's where change begins. Not with grand gestures, not with fixing the whole universe, but right here in a breath, in a choice, in noticing that one link in a chain before it sparks the next. It's okay if this feels subtle, if it feels small. Life works quietly usually. The stream flows slowly and the tree grows slowly, and so do we. And the more you notice, the more you understand that this isn't about guilt or blame or feeling trapped. It's about clarity, seeing how things happen, seeing your own role, seeing the ways you can soften, shift, and respond differently. And maybe if you like these reflections, you can come back and join me again. Hit subscribe if you wanna, or just carry this thought with you quietly. It's okay to take it slow. It's okay to let it sink in. No pressure, just this gentle noticing. So, take a breath. Look at what's around you. Notice the flow. Maybe your mind, your heart, your body. They're all part of this vast dance, connected and conditioned, moving, becoming. And that somehow is enough to start with. That somehow is already a beginning, even if there's no beginning at all. Now, let's take a gentle step deeper. We talked about how everything arises because of conditions, how life is this flowing, connected dance. But there's something even more tender to notice, the way these patterns shape us, right here, right now. Every thought you have, every feeling that rises, every little craving, they're part of this ongoing process. You may not see it all at once, and that's okay. It's subtle, like the wind moving through the leaves, but it's always there. The Buddha described this in a way that may feel a little like a story, 12 little steps or links that explain how suffering keeps spinning without a true beginning. Don't worry about memorizing them. Just imagine it as a circle or a spiral where one thing leads to another and then circles back. It begins, maybe, with not really seeing things clearly, ignorance, but not in a harsh way, not like you're failing. It's just the way we're born, the way life happens. From that not seeing, habits arise, little patterns in our minds that push us towards certain feelings, certain reactions, certain cravings. And from those habits, our awareness flows, Consciousness, noticing the world, noticing our bodies, our senses, our mind. And then comes contact, this meeting of senses and a world. A glance, a touch, a sound, a thought. And with that contact, feelings arise. Pleasure, discomfort, or just a neutral sort of noticing. And then comes craving, the quiet pull to hold onto what feels good, to push away what feels bad. You know that feeling, right? The little tug inside that says, I want this, or I don't want that. And from craving, there's clinging, the deeper attachment to people, experiences, ideas, even a sense of self, and then becoming our choices, our actions, our habits. They gather momentum and carry us forward. And birth happens, not just physical birth, but the way new patterns, new identities, new moments arise. And then aging and passing follow, and the sadness, the grief, the longing. These are all part of flow. It may feel heavy to think about, but it's really a mirror. Not to blame, not to frighten, but to show. To show how life works, so we can step into it more consciously. And here's the thing. Noticing this cycle, seeing the links, doesn't mean you're trapped. It's the opposite. It's gentle freedom. Because the moment you see it, the moment you recognize that this craving, this clinging, this pattern, it's just a link in a chain, you can pause. Even for a breath, even for a second, that pause is your doorway. Maybe that's the quiet power of this insight. You don't have to fix everything all at once. You don't have to find the ultimate cause, the first spark, the perfect answer. You just watch. You notice. You begin to see how the links are feeding themselves. And then, softly, you can interrupt them. That moment, that breath, that tiny noticing, it changes everything. And perhaps that's the secret. Life is flowing. Always. There's no fixed beginning, no fixed end. But within the flow, you can find little islands of choice, little moments where the chain can be loosened, where suffering doesn't have to continue in the same way. Maybe it's just a quiet smile to yourself. Maybe it's a slow breath before reacting. Maybe it's noticing a thought without chasing it. That's enough. That's already change. And if you like these gentle reflections, maybe you can join me again. Subscribe if you feel like it. Or just keep these words with you as whispers in your mind, soft reminders that life is flowing, and you are part of it, and you don't have to push it or fix it. You just have to notice it. So take a breath, feel the world around you, notice your own flow, notice the little chains, the little links, the little currents of life moving through you, and maybe, just maybe, in that noticing, the cycle softens. Maybe, in that pause, freedom begins. Now, let's pause for a moment and look at something a little closer. Your own life, your own experience. We've been talking about these cycles, these links, these flows of causes and conditions. But the quiet wonder is that all of this isn't just a story about the world out there. It's happening right here, right now. In you. Think of it like this. You are not a finished product. You are not a single solid thing that appeared once and will stay forever. You are a living process, always in motion, always changing. The thoughts in your mind, the feelings in your heart, the way your body breathes and moves, they're all part of this flow. And maybe that's okay. Maybe that's a relief. Because if you're always becoming, then nothing is set in stone. Nothing is fixed. And nothing has to be perfect. And here's something gentle to consider. You exist because of streams of past causes meeting with the present moment. Your habits, your tendencies, the patterns you've carried for years, they converge with the conditions of this very day. Your body, your surroundings, the people you meet, the air you breathe. And from that, your life arises. Right now, you're not a separate thing. You're the flowing meeting of all these causes. And that's kind of beautiful, isn't it? Because it means you are alive. You are present. You are this moment. It's also comforting to see that nothing is wasted. Everything you've experienced, every thought, every mistake, every joy, it all plays a part in this ongoing dance. And maybe it's okay if life feels a little messy. Maybe it's okay if you don't understand every twist and turn. The flow doesn't need your approval. It just moves. And by noticing it, by watching it, by breathing with it, you find your own rhythm within the river. And here's the subtle, quiet magic. When you start to see yourself this way, it changes the way you relate to everything. Your feelings, your reactions, even your pain. That frustration that arises, that sadness, that longing, they are just links in the chain, not enemies, not something to push away or fight, just part of the process. And in that noticing, you may find a little space, a little pause, a little freedom you didn't know was there. Maybe it's as simple as this: a single breath, a single thought, a single moment of awareness. You can notice a feeling without being swept away by it. You can watch a craving without grabbing it. You can see anger rise and just let it pass, even for a second. And in that second, you interrupt the old pattern. You break a link in the chain. And that one small break can ripple out quietly, softly, like a stone dropped in a calm pond. And it's okay if this feels subtle. Life often works quietly behind the scenes. The growth isn't always dramatic. It isn't always obvious. But it's happening. You are happening. And that is enough. That is already change. That is already life. And maybe, if you want, you can keep coming back here. Subscribe or not. It doesn't matter. These thoughts aren't about rules or steps. They're just whispers, gentle invitations to notice, to breathe, to see, to be part of the flow without needing to control it. So take a moment, feel your body, feel your breath, notice your thoughts rising and passing. Notice the gentle flow of life in you, in this moment. And maybe, just maybe in that noticing, the cycle softens. Maybe in that pause, a little freedom begins. Now, let's take a little step back and look at the bigger picture. We've been talking a lot about this quiet flow inside you, about the links and patterns of your own life. But maybe it's interesting to wonder, how does this way of seeing things compare to how other people have tried to understand the world? For as long as humans have existed, we've asked these questions. Where did everything come from? What started it all? What caused the universe, life, time itself? And it's okay to ask. That curiosity is part of being human. But maybe, just maybe, the way we usually ask it can feel heavy, like carrying a weight we don't need. Think about the philosophers of ancient Greece. They looked at the world and said, there has to be a first cause, a beginning. Aristotle called it the unmoved mover, something that starts everything but itself is unstarted. And later, religions took that idea and built on it. A creator, a god, the clockmaker of the universe, standing outside time, setting everything into motion. It's tidy, it's logical, it's comforting. Then science came along, asking not for belief but for observation, for measurement. And for a while, the Big Bang seemed to answer the question. Yes, the universe began about 13.8 billion years ago from a hot, dense point. It looked like a beginning. But the more scientists looked, the more the edges of that answer blurred. Because asking what happened before the Big Bang starts to feel almost meaningless. The laws of physics we know stop working there. Time itself might be curved, self-contained, without an edge or starting point. Stephen Hawking even said it's like asking what's north of the North Pole. You just can't. And isn't that interesting? Science and philosophy, in their own ways, are coming to a place that's not so far from what the Buddha noticed over 2,500 years ago, that the search for a first cause, for a cosmic starting point, may not be what actually helps us live. Maybe it's just a question that keeps the mind busy, restless, chasing a shadow. The Buddha didn't say, there is no beginning to satisfy curiosity. He didn't try to argue against science or philosophy. He asked a quieter, softer question. Does asking this help you live well? Does it free you from suffering? Because maybe chasing the origin of the cosmos is like standing in a burning house, asking where the fire started. You might know the story later, but for now, the fire is here and it needs attention. So, while philosophers build their logical cases and scientists map the edges of time, Buddhism quietly turns inward. It says, maybe the real question isn't, how did it all begin? The question is, what is happening right now? What is feeding your suffering? What can you see in this breath, in this moment, in this feeling that just arose? And maybe that's the gift. Because when you notice the fire, when you notice the flow of life, when you see the causes and conditions unfolding in this very instant, you find a little space, a little room to breathe, a little doorway to respond differently. And that's where freedom begins. And it's okay if this feels subtle. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Just noticing, just pausing, just letting the mind rest for a moment in the flow. And maybe, if you like, you can come back here and explore this together. Hit subscribe, or just carry this thought quietly with you. It's okay to take it slow. No rush, just this moment. So maybe take a breath now. Feel your body. Feel your thoughts. Feel the life flowing through you. And just notice that even if there's no beginning, you are here. You are alive. And maybe that is enough. Now, let's talk about something that might feel familiar. Those questions that keep swirling in your mind. The ones about the universe, about beginnings, endings, who we are, why we're here. Maybe you've asked them yourself. And maybe they feel important, pressing, impossible to ignore. That's okay. That curiosity is natural. It's human. But here's the thing the Buddha noticed. Some of these questions, no matter how long you think about them, don't really help you live. They don't stop the suffering. They don't calm the heart. They don't make the next moment any easier. He called them unconjecturables. Big words, but the meaning is simple. Questions are just endless, like chasing your own shadow. Where did the universe begin or end? Is it infinite or finite? Who created it? What's beyond it? All of these can trap the mind, leaving it restless, anxious, spinning in circles. Imagine this. Your house is on fire, and instead of putting the fire out, you stand there asking what kind of wood the beams are made of, or who built the house, or how long it's been standing. The Buddha said, if you do that, you might die waiting for the answers. And it's okay to smile at that because it's gentle advice. Not harsh, not judgmental, just a quiet pointing toward what matters. The fire is here, right now, and that's the difference. Some questions are like arrows that distract you. Others, if you look carefully, are gifts. They wake you up. The Buddha knew which was which. He didn't answer every question. Some he left silent, because silence can be the most compassionate thing. And some he spoke very clearly about, because those are the moments that demand attention. The moments when awareness can really take root. It may feel surprising, maybe even frustrating. How can the same teacher sometimes stay silent and other times speak with urgency? But perhaps it's simple. It's not about showing off knowledge. It's about helping you wake up, to notice the patterns in your own life, to see the fire, to feel the urgency of now, without being lost in endless speculation. And maybe that's why the Buddha sometimes uses vivid, even shocking images. The mountain of tears from past wandering, the endless bones of past lives. It's not to scare you. It's to help you feel that deep shaking realization, the kind that whispers, I cannot waste this life. This moment matters. That feeling is called samvega, and maybe you felt it those times when something in you says, I need to wake up, I need to notice, I need to live differently. So here's a gentle invitation. Don't worry about answering every cosmic question. It's okay. Just notice your own life. Notice the fire. Notice the flow of causes and conditions in this very moment. Your thoughts, your feelings, your body, your breath. They're all part of this vast, beautiful, unfolding cycle. And in that noticing, in that pause, you start to find freedom. And maybe, if you want, you can join me again for the next reflection. Subscribe if you like, or just carry this thought quietly with you. It's okay to take it slow, to let these words settle, to let the gentle noticing sink in. So, take a breath now. Feel it. Feel your presence in this moment. And just let it be. No beginning, no end. Just this gentle awareness, flowing quietly, softly, endlessly. Now, let's sit with an idea that can feel a little strange at first, but also quietly freeing. The Buddha spoke often about samsara, the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. And here's the remarkable thing. He said it has no beginning, beginningless, not because it's hidden, not because we haven't found it yet, but because life, existence, this whole flow, simply doesn't work that way. There isn't a first spark, a first moment, a first cause. And maybe at first, that feels unsettling. Maybe you want a neat starting point. That's okay. It's natural. We like beginnings. We like chapter ones. They give us comfort. But imagine what it could mean to let that go, just for a moment, to stop trying to pin down the first cause, to stop asking, where did it all start? And instead, to look right here, right now. To notice the flow that is happening in you, in your thoughts, your feelings, your breath, your body. The past has shaped this moment, and this moment is shaping what comes next. And that, right there, is already enough to notice, already enough to work with. The Buddha didn't speak about beginningless samsara to confuse anyone. He spoke about it to wake people up, to show that suffering isn't waiting for some magical first moment to be solved. It's happening now. And freedom isn't found in tracing origins. It's found in understanding this moment, in seeing how the links arise and fall away, in noticing the patterns we're part of. Think about it softly, like this. You feel a little irritation rise. You feel a craving. A thought pops into your mind. That's samsara in action. That's the cycle moving through you. And it's okay. You don't have to feel ashamed. You just notice. And in noticing, something shifts. There's a tiny space, a little pause, maybe a breath, maybe a soft thought. I see you. And in that moment, the cycle isn't gone, but it's not controlling you either. And that's really the quiet power of this teaching. It's practical. It's here. It's now. Not somewhere out in the cosmos, not in some abstract theory. It's in the flow of your own life. In every thought, every feeling, every reaction, every pause, every breath. And maybe you start to see a little pattern forming. Not a fixed chain, but a gentle rhythm. One that you can respond to. One that you can soften. It's okay if it feels subtle, because life often is. The stream flows quietly, the tree grows quietly, and you grow quietly too. And that's enough. Noticing the cycle, noticing the flow, noticing the links. Just that noticing is already the beginning of change. And maybe that's what the Buddha meant. Freedom doesn't come from chasing the first cause. It comes from noticing the living, breathing cause that's here in this very moment and responding with awareness. And maybe if you want, you can keep coming back here. Subscribe if you like, or just let these words sit with you, quietly. Let them sink in, softly. No rush, no pressure, just this gentle awareness, this soft noticing of life as it flows. So, take a breath now. Feel your presence in this moment. Feel your life flowing, even without a beginning, even without a fixed starting point. And maybe, just maybe, in that noticing, a little freedom begins. Now, let's bring it a little closer to home. We've been talking about this flow of life, about links and conditions, about the beginningless cycle. But what does it mean for you, for the way you live each day? Maybe it feels big, abstract, even a little overwhelming. And that's okay. It's okay to take it slowly, gently, like dipping your toes into a stream rather than diving straight in. Life, in its ordinary moments, gives us countless opportunities to notice this flow. A little irritation at work, a fleeting craving for something you can't have, a memory that rises uninvited, a worry about tomorrow. All of these are links, small ripples in the stream of life. And here's the tender truth. You don't have to fight them. You don't have to push them away. You can simply notice them, softly, with curiosity, not judgment. Maybe even with a little compassion for yourself. Because in that noticing, there's space, a pause, even a breath. And in that pause, you can choose not everything, not all at once, but something. You can respond differently. You can let go a little. You can soften a little. You can interrupt the chain, even for a moment. And in that moment, the cycle, beginningless as it is, loses a bit of its power over you. Maybe it's as simple as noticing a feeling of anger before it rises fully. Maybe it's catching a craving before you act on it. Maybe it's seeing a thought that pulls you toward worry and just letting it float by. These tiny pauses, these soft acts of awareness, are already freedom. They're like small cracks of light in a long tunnel. They're quiet, but they matter. And the beauty of it is, you don't have to do everything perfectly. You don't have to fix the whole stream. You don't have to understand every link, every condition, every cause. You just start here in this moment. Maybe you notice one thought, one feeling, one breath, and maybe that's enough. It's enough to begin softening the flow, to begin finding a little freedom in the ongoing dance of life. It's okay if it feels subtle. It's okay if the change is slow. Life often moves quietly, almost imperceptibly, like the turning of the seasons. But in those quiet moments, in that gentle noticing, the cycle begins to shift. You begin to meet yourself with awareness. You begin to respond with care. And that in itself is profound. And if you like these gentle reflections, maybe you can come back and sit with them again. Subscribe if you feel like it, or just let these words stay quietly with you. Let them whisper in your mind, soft reminders that life is flowing, that you're a part of it, and that even a small pause can be a doorway. So, take a breath now. Feel your body. Feel your thoughts. Feel the world around you. Notice the flow. Notice the links. And maybe, just maybe in that quiet noticing, the beginningless cycle softens and freedom quietly begins. Now, let's bring this gentle noticing even closer to the heart of your own experience. Life isn't always easy, and suffering shows up in so many forms: pain, loss, disappointment, loneliness. And often the first thing we do is ask, why me? It feels natural, right? But there's a quieter way to look at it. Noticing the flow of causes and conditions, the links in samsara, gives us a different lens. Instead of seeing yourself as a victim, you can see this moment as part of a process. Maybe it's painful, yes, but it's also a continuation of countless causes, stretching far back and weaving into the present, and noticing that maybe it softens the sting a little. It's not about escaping the pain or pretending it's not there. It's about seeing clearly, about recognizing the patterns that bring it, and maybe just for a breath, letting go of the extra layer of suffering. The stories we tell ourselves about unfairness, blame, or being singled out. That small shift can be profound. It's subtle, almost imperceptible, but it matters. And the same is true for the quiet kind of suffering. The emptiness that creeps in when life feels stable but hollow. You might ask, what's the point? If there's no first cause, no ultimate beginning or end, then why bother? And here's the tender twist. Meaning isn't somewhere out there, waiting to be discovered. Meaning is here, in the quality of how you live, in how you respond to each thought, each feeling, each breath. It's in the gentle acts of kindness, the soft noticing of yourself, the small choices you make moment by moment. Maybe it's painting your life one quiet brushstroke at a time, right now, instead of chasing some big answer at the end of the road. And then there's change. When you want to shift old habits, stop reacting automatically, stop falling into the same loops. Even when you understand the cycle, it doesn't mean it stops immediately. Anger rises, craving lingers, patterns repeat. And that's okay. That's the human experience. But here's the tender, beautiful truth. The fire of samsara runs on fuel. And that fuel is often our unexamined reactions, the cravings, the aversions, the distractions. And the wonderful news? You can interrupt it, even just for a breath. Even just for a second. Think of it this way. Someone criticizes you, and heat rises in your chest. But before you speak, before you act, there's a tiny pause. Maybe it's just a breath. Maybe it's a gentle thought. I see this feeling. I don't have to feed it. And in that moment, even for a second, you reclaim a little freedom. You weaken the chain. You soften the pattern. You interrupt something that has been going on quietly for who knows how long. And that pause, small, subtle, tender, is already profound. And maybe, just maybe, that's the secret of this beginningless cycle. You don't have to fix it all at once. You don't have to find the ultimate beginning. You just start here, now, with small moments of noticing, small acts of awareness, small choices that interrupt the chain and invite freedom into your life. And if you like these reflections, you can come back here again. Subscribe if it feels right, or just carry these gentle whispers with you through your day. They're soft reminders that life is flowing, that patterns can be softened, and that freedom can begin in a single moment of awareness. So, take a breath. Feel your presence. Feel your life unfolding. Notice the small patterns. Notice the flow. And maybe, just maybe, in that quiet noticing, you find a little freedom you didn't know was there. Now, let's pause for a moment and just breathe together. Life has a way of rushing us, doesn't it? We're always moving, always thinking, always trying to find answers, try and make sense of things. And sometimes it feels like we need a beginning, a starting point, a moment that explains everything. But maybe, just maybe, that's not how life works. Maybe life is more like a river, quietly flowing, endlessly without a clear start or end. And the river doesn't wait for permission to move. It just flows. And you're a part of that river. You're in the middle of it, moving with it, carrying currents, creating small ripples with every thought, every feeling, every choice. And it's okay if that feels strange. It's okay if it feels unsettling at first, because we're used to stories with chapters, with beginnings, with neat explanations. But when you let go of the need for a first cause, something soft and freeing happens. The pressure to understand everything disappears a little. You can just be here. You can just notice. And noticing is everything. It's like standing in the river, feeling the water around your ankles, feeling the current, and just being aware that you're alive, that life is moving, and that you are moving with it. Think of all the moments you felt suffering, pain, loss, anger, confusion. And maybe the first instinct is to ask, why me? Why now? It's a natural question, and it's okay to feel it. But maybe we can soften it a little. Instead of asking, why me, we can ask, what are the conditions right now that brought this feeling, this thought, this moment into being? When we look gently at life this way, we start to see patterns, flows, the links between past and present, and how everything is connected. It doesn't erase the pain, but it takes away the second layer, the story we tell ourselves about being singled out, about being punished. And that alone is a relief. That alone opens a space to breathe. And in that space, something subtle begins to shift. You might notice a thought rising and choose not to chase it. You might feel a craving and let it pass without feeding it. You might feel irritation or anger and just breathe, softening around it. These small moments, tiny and gentle, are where freedom begins, not somewhere far away, not in the search of beginnings, but here in your own life, in this very breath. And each small pause, each tiny choice interrupts the cycle, the flow that has been moving for so long. Each pause, each noticing, softens the river, even for a second. And maybe that second is enough to start a ripple that carries forward in ways we cannot see. And the beauty of this is that life doesn't require perfection. You don't have to get it right every time. You don't have to understand all the links, all the causes, all the conditions. You just start where you are with what you have. Maybe it's noticing one thought, one feeling, one breath. Maybe it's a gentle, I see you to yourself when a craving arises. Maybe it's a soft breath before responding to someone. These small moments, over time, quietly transform the flow of life itself. They are the brushstrokes painting the picture of your life. Not at the end of the road, not in some grand conclusion, but now, here, in this moment. And maybe this is the most tender lesson of all. Freedom isn't somewhere out there, waiting at the edge of time or the origin of the universe. Freedom begins here, in the soft noticing of what's happening, in the pause between stimulus and reaction, in the awareness of breath, the body, the thoughts, the feelings. Right now, not tomorrow, not when you have all the answers. Right now, and maybe just noticing that, feeling it quietly in your body, in your heart, is already enough. You can imagine this like a gentle river that moves around rocks and bends, sometimes fast, sometimes slow. You can't control the river, but you can float with it. You can notice the current. You can choose to soften into it rather than fight it. And in that soft, gentle presence, you are free. Not because the river stops, not because the current ends, but because you have found a way to move with it, to notice it, to be aware. And that awareness, subtle as it is, carries a quiet, profound power. So maybe take another breath now. Feel your body. Feel your presence. Feel the flow of life through you. And maybe, just maybe in this quiet noticing, in this soft, gentle awareness, a little freedom has already begun. Not in a moment that started it all, not in a cosmic answer, but right here, right now. And if you like, you can carry this gentle whisper with you. Return to it whenever life feels heavy, whenever you feel caught in the flow. And maybe, if it feels right, subscribe or come back here, softly, quietly. No rush, no pressure, just this gentle noticing, this soft conversation with life, with yourself, with a flow that never began and never ends. Take one last deep breath softly, gently, and feel it. Feel life moving. Feel yourself moving and know you are alive. You are here. And that is enough.